The Lucid Air Grand Touring, kind of a rare car, beautiful on the inside, stunning on the outside, and achieves hyperspeed-like acceleration. Man. The automotive industry is a cruel, merciless business. For decades, it's been ruled by behemoths. Few upstarts have survived. Heck, even established brands have disappeared. But lately, it seems like even the kid down the street is ready to launch an electric vehicle company. Not familiar with this name?
I like it. What brand is it?
Lucid.
It is a Lucid.
Brand new brand.
The Lucid Air, a Grand Touring model in this case, grabs eyeballs like few cars I've witnessed. Some get emotional.
He just had to do that.
People inherently see it as an EV, and oddly, many think it's a Tesla. Clearly it's not. The Air is a smidge smaller than Model S. Other competitors? BMW i7, Mercedes EQS, and maybe the smaller Porsche Taycan or Audi e-tron GT.
Obviously, Lucid is a very new independent car company. It's ramping up production. In 2022, it managed to deliver just over 7,000 vehicles. Its headquarters are in Newark, California, not that far away from Fremont. And these are built in Arizona, just outside of Phoenix in Casa Grande.
This is not for the Chevy Bolt crowd. A base rear-drive pure model starts at $87,400. The MSRP on this Grand Touring is $140,600. This is before any incentives from Lucid or the government, all of which seem to change daily. Standard Grand Touring stuff includes DreamDrive semi-autonomous driving tech. This one's equipped with DreamDrive Pro, with enough cameras and sensors to supply a Supermax security site, including LiDAR. There's also dual-motor all-wheel drive, and Lucid's large 112 kilowatt-hour battery pack that's EPA-rated to deliver a bladder-busting 516 miles of range, the best in the business. With 819 horsepower and 885 pound-feet of instant torque, it's less expensive than buying your own roller coaster and takes up less real estate, too. That thrust is courtesy of unusually compact motors weighing around 67 pounds with the differential integrated into the rotor. The unique cooling is done near the stator's copper winding. The Sapphire model gets a 3-motor powertrain for claimed sub-2 seconds 0 to 60 runs. The lithium-ion pack uses cylindrical cells, 300 per module. Liquid cooling is channeled through an aluminum plate on top of each module instead of around the sides of the cells, helping to keep the modules compact. Those are packaged into a composite case that's structural and curved for better aerodynamics. The compact size of the motors and pack open up space in the cabin. Grand Touring tips the scales at some 5,200 pounds, 2,360 kilos. The pack is heavy, so the center of gravity is low, basic EV stuff. This is a modular architecture. Expect to find it under a 3-row SUV dubbed Gravity. Lucid uses a 900-plus volt architecture. It can juice very fast at the right DC fast chargers with a max charge rate of over 300 kilowatts. Seems like Lucid's trying to up all comers.
This is one of those cars that doesn't have an on-off switch. Butts in seats turn the air on, and there is no parking brake release. If you're in park, the brake is on. Shift to drive or reverse, and it releases automatically.
The gauge cluster is 34 inches of curved 5K resolution display divided up into 3 zones, one oriented for infotainment, another for driving data, and a section that controls stuff like lights, trunk releases, and the charge port door. Regenerative braking toggles from mild to aggressive, and there are drive modes that range from docile to spirited to let's get the legal team to sign off on this. Dampers are adaptive, Lucid's powertrain is single speed, the traditional selector is intuitive, and there's phone is key technology. I use this chubby Pringle chip fob.
The Grand Touring here sprints to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds flat. Is that not fast enough for you? Well, there's the Grand Touring Performance, and that drops it to 2.6. It also drops range by 70 miles and ups the price by 40 grand. So ask yourself if it's worth it. Acceleration in this is fairly violent. That is a blast. Plenty of power to pass slow-moving vehicles. Plenty of power to pass fast-moving vehicles.
Unlike many potent cars, the Air is relaxed at slow speeds. It's a pussycat in town that can transform to a caffeinated tiger in the right conditions. That's a dynamic that even seasoned automakers don't always nail down.
The suspension is a little bit on the firm side, meaning body movements are very nicely controlled, but the semi-active dampers do a great job of keeping this car comfortable. Plus, you know, these are low-profile tires. I'm kind of surprised there aren't more sharp bumps making their way up through the seat.
Steering weight is on the hefty side, something that I prefer, and there's road feel coming up through the wheel, so the Grand Touring is a fun dancing partner considering it casts a large luxury sedan shadow. Visibility is good, however, the steep rake of the glass and thick A-pillars make for a sizable blind spot forward. The Air slices through the stuff, the most aerodynamic vehicle on the road, with a coefficient of drag under 0.2.
At highway speeds, about the only thing you're going to hear is the slight rush of wind over the body, and it's very faint, considering how aerodynamic this car is. The thing is, at slower speeds, like when you're driving in the city, I'm not sure that you can hear this, but there is a good amount of motor whine. Something to think about when you're test driving this car.
There are no switchable performance sounds like Porsche Taycan. Chances are you'll be seduced by the deep well of torque and the calming light that bathes the cockpit. We in cloudy Seattle appreciate the brightness. Folks in sunny places may feel differently. The Lucid Grand Touring excels at travel. It can eat up the miles.
I'm not seeing the EPA-rated range of 516 miles. For starters, it's been kind of chilly in Seattle in the low 40s. Plus, I've been doing a lot of hard launches, partly to demonstrate to you, partly because it's fun. So I'm seeing closer to 400, maybe 410. Now, also keep in mind, I've been doing a lot of highway driving, and it seems to me that once you're over 75 in this vehicle, the efficiency really drops off.
Like all electric vehicles, conditions and driving style make a huge difference. Tesla Model S is EPA rated as high as 406 miles, but I wouldn't be surprised seeing closer to 300 driving like I am.
One pedal driving is really easy to do in this car. I'm in the most aggressive regen setting, and foot off the throttle, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. That's from 45 miles an hour. This is using just regenerative. If I were to use the brake pedal, the initial travel is regenerative braking, and then it feathers into the physical disc brakes. Tesla, you're always using the physical brakes when you're using the brake pedal. Oh, and the pedal feel when you're transitioning from recuperation to the actual physical brakes is seamless.
I'm going to do a separate piece on DreamDrive Pro, Lucid's semi-autonomous driving tech. For now, before any planned updates, it's not true hands-free like Super Cruise. As it stands, DreamDrive is confident but does want hands on the wheel every so often.
It's good stuff, and apparently it's going to get a whole lot better.
I'm also going to cover charging more thoroughly in my second piece. With its built-in Wonderbox charger and 900 plus volt architecture, Lucid claims this is the fastest charging EV available. In optimal conditions, it can take on 200 miles in 12 minutes at terminals like this. And at Electrify America stations, where charging is free for 2 years, it supports plug-and charge. So there's no apps, no cards, just plug in and juice up.
Hey, it worked. I shouldn't be surprised, but with Electrify America, you really don't know what to expect.
In my experience, 200 miles were added in around 15 minutes, the best take rate being 230 kilowatts. Temperature probably kept the charge curve conservative. Now at home, using level 2 with a 50 amp circuit, Air takes on 40 miles every hour using the supplied cord. Lucid's more powerful units with bidirectional functionality doubles that rate if you have a 100 amp breaker that's free in your panel. Air supports 19.2 kilowatt level 2 charging. The Air sits low. Most will need to duck a smidge on entry, and frunk space pushes some components to the cabin area, so the front isn't as open as the rear. Around 5% roomier than a Model S, it looks like the design team was shopping for an Eames chair, a new suit, and some iPads. By the way, this is not fixed in place. Good for stashing things not used much. Even these are nicely finished and lined. There are a couple nods to its Silicon Valley engineering. Lucid showrooms have virtual reality goggles to help buyers see the car that they're choosing, inside and out. The indecisive can change up the mood. The ambiance is dreamy. The light-colored fabric and carpet would be a nightmare for me to keep clean. Heated, vented, and massaging seats are covered in Napa leather. I can't remember the last time a car came with contrasting colored rear seats. If the Mercedes EQS looks like a starship, the Lucid has a room-and-board mid-century modern vibe. I do like the blind spot monitoring system. Voice control is courtesy of Alexa. The doors, those are soft close on the Grand Touring. And if you find yourself in a Lucid for the first time, here's how you get out. There are so many things to like about this car for those that can afford it, but it's not perfect. I'll curse Elon for starting the touchscreen trend to save money on buttons. Adjusting the wheel, mirrors, and full function of the seats while driving isn't fun. At least there are a few hard buttons. This is low and way out of a driver's sightline, not ideal at high speed. I find walking up to unlock the doors or trunk using the proximity key is a game of roulette. Feeling lucky? The stubby signal stock has a wiper button that I hit by accident a couple dozen times. Also, small software issues that I did not capture on camera came and went. Lucid assures it's updating the system constantly. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay will be over-the-air updates. This is all familiar stuff to Tesla and Rivian owners. Mainstream automakers seem to nail it down better right out of the box.
You're going to complain about footroom, aren't you? How did you know? You're kind of predictable. This one has the larger battery, so it kind of eliminates that. Go with an Air with the smaller pack and there will be room for your chunks. Continue. We're both 5'9", by the way. That's right, and at that height, I've got that much headroom. Excellent. I do have to kind of duck to get in and out. Knee and leg room, really very generous. It's just that whole footroom thing that keeps my legs at a slightly awkward angle. So thigh support is just kind of average. But I will say, these doors open super wide. Great if you're getting car seats in and out all the time. And check this out. Yeah, motorized sunshades. Nice. Not just here, too. In the back. If nothing else, they're fun to play with. As far as storage, these are nice, and pockets on both seat backs, very nice. Plus, a little cubby here. You can charge your phones right there. Is there a separate climate zone? Yes, there is, plus heated seats. I mean, this is an expensive car. The floor is almost perfectly flat, so in a way you have a lot of room for your feet. By the way, I wouldn't get the white carpet. It gets dirty really fast. The big glass roof makes things nice and airy back here, no pun intended. And this is wide enough so that 3 adults will have no problem. The only real issue back here is the footroom. So I suggest looking at models with a smaller battery pack.
Lucid's head of design, Derek Jenkins, bumped around the Volkswagen Group in Mazda before drawing for Lucid. Not sure how much he and the team make, but they still deserve a raise. The last time I had so many people interested in a car, it had prancing horse logos. There's a grace and balance about the Air's styling that ties the past to the future. This would look awesome parked at a Frank Lloyd Wright home. Like those, the Lucid's interior and exterior harmonize perfectly. The lighting animation adds interest, but isn't overwrought. Even the badge has personality. It's also distractingly attractive. It takes a moment to realize the roof is a different paint color.
Sedans, they're just not as practical as SUV crossovers. Lucid doesn't make one of those, yet.
The Gravity model can't come soon enough. At least the opening is wide. The supplied charge cord packs away perfectly. Maybe run an air pump from here, there's no spare tire. It's trimmed out well. Skis on the roof would add aero drag and noise. Great to have releases here, unless you're trying to get your steps in going around to the back doors. For a sedan, the Air does have some flexibility. As for the TP trunk test, we'll start with 1 pack here. This space measures out at 22 cubic feet in total. That turns out to be 6 in the back. Up front, there's 10 cubes or 2 packs. You might be putting carry-on luggage there instead. I won't judge. Time for the red light, green light wrap-up. Green light. Inside and out, Lucid Air is something special to look at. It switches from grocery getter to Millennium Falcon performance with ease. Even with 400 miles of observed range, there's no anxiety at all. That's especially true considering Air's best-in-the-biz charge speed. Yellow light? Quiet in most cases, there's some motor noise at lower speeds. The spacious, well-crafted cabin that requires a slight duct to get into uses materials kind of casual for a $140,000 car, some might find. If you want the best rear footroom, go with the Pure or Touring models. They have smaller packs. Red light. The Grand Touring's effortless elegance and performance comes at a steep price. I experienced a number of software phantoms that Lucid engineers need to jump on. That can be done over the air. The thick A-pillar that blocks visibility is forever. Merriam-Webster defines the word lucid as expressed clearly and easy to understand. That rings true with the Air Grand Touring. It's beauty in motion, both in copious amounts. The fledgling automaker has weathered turbulent times, and there are never guarantees of success. But something this good will have enthusiasts rooting for it.
Lucid is a new company. Some are going to be wary of that. And then there's the price. I mean, I would have to take out a second job to afford this, maybe a third, maybe a fourth. And then there are software issues and sniggly little details. Lucid says it's on that. But imagine waking up in the morning and walking up to this beautiful car, dropping into this great interior, and then hitting highway on-ramps at warp speed. Could be a lot of fun.
It's a striking and comfortable sedan with gobs of power. Lucid might be a new automaker, but it delivers the style, performance, and exclusivity that premium EV owners want, like it's been in business for decades. Again, I'll be doing a second piece on the Lucid Air to flesh out the details like Dream Drive Pro and charging, which was more involved than I showed here. I'm trying to keep these videos more concise. I hate people wasting my time. I try not to waste yours. And I highly suggest watching videos that Lucid has produced. The links are in the video description. Fascinating, geeky stuff that Lucid has made easy to understand.
Sometimes when you're watching videos like the ones from Motor Trend, there'll literally be dozens of people in the credits. Well, this is my version of credits. Come and say hello, Martin. Everybody knows Martin Campbell. He drives while I shoot running footage. Couldn't do these without Martin. Thanks, man.
Good. Welcome.
He also takes the thumbnails that you see. He's a terrific still photog. Check him out on Instagram.
Hope you got something out of my look at the Lucid Air Grand Touring. Before I go, an observation. It's been decades since the American automobile industry has seen a successful new car company. Tucker, DeLorean, Bricklin didn't make it. We lost AMC. We don't have brands like Oldsmobile, Pontiac, Saturn, Mercury, and Plymouth anymore. But we do have Tesla now. That is clearly successful. And I've seen a number of these in the wild. Plus, Rivian, I see the R1T truck on a daily basis here in Seattle. Plus, on the way here, I saw my first R1S. So obviously, people are embracing these new companies, even though the vehicles are very, very expensive. Good to see that. Good to see competition. It floats all boats. Cars in this case. Thanks for watching. Remember, subscribe to this channel, click notifications, follow me on social media, and if you have a question, leave it in the comments, okay? All right. That's Driven. I'm Tom Volk.